Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. First, the highlights. Nigeria's president says his government will not carry on with external debt servicing, which gobs over 90% of the country's revenue. Opposition People's Democratic Party in Benue State disagree with Governor Alia over a subsidy palliative received from the federal government. Plus, Governor Yahya Bello of Kogi State assures the people of peaceful governorship polls as over 5,000 members of the People's Democratic Party decamp to the ruling APC. Welcome to the program. I'm Millicent Walker in Lagos. And all appears set, and this is for the Federal Executive Council, the inaugural meeting, that is, of this administration, set to commence any moment now. The meeting, which will be the first cabinet meeting, is coming just 1 week after the ministers were sworn in. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, told us earlier that the ministers had started arriving at the State House Council chamber, and some matters that may be up for deliberation or the aftermath of the fuel subsidy removal, reviewing the implementation of the palliative plans, and keeping the nationwide fuel prices in check. Ministers will also be presenting their proposals for the various ministries at the meeting. We'll go into other stories with the recent comment by Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu addressing the developmental challenges facing the country. The president asserts that 90% of scarce revenue is used to service external debts. President Bola Tinubu was speaking during the Nigerian Bar Association's 63rd Annual General Conference in Abuja. He also says that world-class remunerations for legal professionals can sanitize the judiciary for a prosperous Nigeria.
The challenge is all for us to pull together a united Nigeria, committed to national greatness. Unless we do it by ourselves, unless we employ change of mindset, we cannot achieve the desired progress. I'm not being cynical. I'm being factual. Yes, it is a shame not to have electricity for the majority of homes in Nigeria. Yes, poverty is not a shameful thing, but not acceptable. We must banish it. Can we continue to service external debt with over 90% of our revenue? It's a path to destruction. We cannot continue that. We have to make hard decisions.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu. Meanwhile, other events lined up for today at the Nigeria Bar Association conference holding in Abuja include sessions on prioritizing infrastructure development in the national agenda. Other side events will also look at the way forward in mining in Nigeria, the legal and social challenges, as well as the socio-economic impact of oil subsidy removal, among other topics. The 63rd Annual Nigeria Bar Association conference is a gathering of more than 16,000 lawyers, with this year's theme, Getting It Right and Charting the Course for Nigeria's Nation Building. And there are conflicting statements on the NYSC status of the Minister of Art, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, while a statement purportedly released by the minister on Sunday says she did not breach the Nigerian law by being appointed as minister while still undergoing the compulsory National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. Another statement from her office says the minister is yet to issue any statement on the issue. The statement by the Deputy Director of Press at the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Suleiman Haruna, on behalf of the minister, reads in part, I deeply value and appreciate the support, solidarity, and understanding of Nigerians in these times. For clarity, I wish to state that I have not issued any statement on the current issue. There has been a raging controversy over the NYSC status of the minister after it emerged that she was currently undergoing the scheme. Ms. Anatu Musawa is one of the 45 ministers assigned portfolios by President Bola Tinubu last week after their confirmation by the Senate. Well, over the weekend, the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, met with the Minister of Defense. This was to discuss areas of collaboration between both ministries. Now, both men agree that technology and also innovation can improve the country's security architecture towards delivering a safer Nigeria. Well, joining us to talk more about this is Professor Ibrahim Abubakar. Welcome to the program.
Welcome.
All right, thanks so much. I'm just being told that you're actually Onigbogi. Yes? Oh, I thought for a moment that you were joining us virtually. All right.
Yes, actually, I wanted to, but I felt it's better I come around.
No worries. Thanks so much. The last time we spoke, you were on Zoom.
Yes, I was far away.
Thanks for joining us. All right. Let's begin with the president's comments over, and this was over the weekend, the NBA conference, where he talked about the developmental challenges facing the country. He asserted 90% of our scarce resources, revenues being used to service external debts. What do you think about this sort of overview about Nigeria's debt servicing situation?
Well, this is not the first time we're hearing this. Before Buhari left the stage, this information has been in the public domain. And it's very, very unfortunate that a country as big as Nigeria was using 90% of its revenue to fund external debt. If we are not careful with increase in population, increase in expectation for national development, for us to be going forward, we'll be moving backward. And that's why when Tinubu came in, President Tinubu came in, he did a lot of things that you say is a human's job. He tried as much as possible to ensure that petroleum products, that there have been subsidy to reduce it, and the expectation is that they will use the excess to do national development. And the case is not what we are saying, because you will discover that what they did for Nigeria now, presently, much of the funds, they spent over 5 billion giving to each state as palliative. I don't expect them to do that. If we are a focused country, such funds should be stressed into educational sector, health sector, and other development, probably electricity, something that at the end of the day, a lot of people will enjoy it.
But that's the thing, at the end of the day, it looks like more long-term rather than short-term. But they're hoping that this palliatives will be a sort of short-term solution to the challenges, the problems with regards to fuel subsidy.
No, let's get it right. A bowl of gari for 8,000 or a bowl of rice for 20,000, how long will that feed the family? A family of 4, if you meet a bowl of gari, you can finish it that night. So if you do rice, probably another 2-3 times. So are you saying that we are going to eat for a day, and that's what we call palliative? But I prefer that palliative come in sort of drugs, educational, because when you talk about palliatives, everybody cannot enjoy palliative. But the rich can afford their business. Then the less privileged, I can't say the poor, the less privileged, let there be palliative for primary schools, secondary schools, healthcare sector, so that when you go to hospitals, you will meet those drugs that you go and buy a pharmacy at 10,000, probably with that just 2,000. That's the palliative we're expecting. Not this type of palliative that nobody is sure where did they get their data or the figure from. That's the problem.
So today we understand that the FEC, will be meeting the first of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the ministers will be there bringing their proposals or maybe their plans. Who knows for how many months? But this is also, as they look at some of the trajectory of our economy. What are perhaps those ministries that you think can make positive impacts and that change or difference that Nigerians need in the interim, in the now?
Well, for me, I would prefer three main ministry, principally if you talk of education, health, and probably power. Because if you get from what I've just said now, if the power state is stable in Nigeria, people have access to education, people have good access to health benefits, I think the country will move. And when I first said power is no development or developing nation does not have excess of power. I was in China some 7-8 years ago. I discovered that China has story buildings, 170 in numbers, not just 101. I stayed in an hotel. I was staying on the 88th floor. That shows they had such, in just a town in Guangzhou, they have 100 floor building, probably in thousands. When are we going to get there?
China is a rich country.
No. Don't you see? The problem we make about Nigeria is we always say some countries are richer than Nigeria. Some 20, 30 years ago, Malaysia was not where we are. Malaysia came to Nigeria, picked their seedlings for palm oil from Nigeria, and now we see where they are. Some 40 years ago, Dubai was not where they were. Now Dubai is a tourist center for everybody with the Americans. So we can be there. We need to plan. You see, when you say long term, short term, there are some short term that if you look at it, there are some long term that they look very short. Like nobody believed that Dubai was sandy and windy 30 years ago. Now Dubai is a place where people want to go. They make a lot of money from tourist attraction. Why not Nigeria?
Do you think that Nigerians are ready for this difficult changes?
When you say Nigerians, the problem we have with this country is that we've benefited a lot of largesse in the last 40 years. So we are not yet accustomed to the realities of life. We've been living on subsidy, subvention, spending money anyhow. Someone that is not even rich, talk less or wealthy, wants to drive a Mercedes Maybach. Now, water is now finding its level. Everybody, if you know it is not necessary to go to Ikeja, you don't go. If you know, I don't need to go to Ilorin, I need to send when you send. But before it was like that, everybody will be on the road chasing nothing. But now, we now know that the petroleum product comes they don't come cheap. So you need to plan ahead to get this done. To the extent that it's even affecting our aviation sector. Before, when dollar was very cheap, virtually every day, several Nigerians travel to London 2-3 times a month. But now you need to calculate very well because a flight now costs millions of naira. So now I think we are naira senses.
Perhaps as a final word on this, and this is with what the federal government has decided to go through, it's 5 billion per state. Some people are also questioning, the state's capacity to distribute. We have political parties, different interests, saying that, this distribution might not work or get to the people that it needs to. Do you think that is a problem as well?
Well, in all fairness, our leaders at state level, they've never been sincere. And what will happen at the end of the day is the palliative is supposed to be for everybody. But naturally, the state and the governor and his people, and what I mean is the governor and his people, if the governor is an LP man, it should now be the governor and the LP people. If the governor is a PDP man, it will now be governor and because how do you want him to distribute it to APC people when they are not his people? Naturally, people always put such scarce resources and they share it among their people. So it's going to be skewed to some set of people and some will not feel it. And that's why I would have preferred that palliative should be allocated at the central, probably the hospitals, the schools, things that everybody will use in the long run.
All right, we'd like to appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Ayodeji Onigboge, economic analyst. Thanks for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure being here this afternoon.
All right, well, staying with the palliative, soccer has started coming the way of various communities, this time in Adamawa State, as a result of the hardship caused by the removal of fuel subsidy. Well, this follows the setting up of a mechanism for both urban and rural areas, facilitated by the release of the 5 billion naira by the president for the purpose. The Adamawa state government is reaching out to the people, setting up the palliative distribution committee. Some individuals and religious organizations are also lending a helping hand to ease the pressure.
Adamawa State, like other states in the north, with a poverty rate of over 70%, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, is lamenting the removal of fuel subsidy, which has affected the livelihoods of families who cannot afford decent food.
My appeal to the government is that they should try and look into this situation that the poor ones like us are going through, at least maybe by providing the necessity that a citizen needs in order to survive.
While the state government is fine-tuning modalities to ensure that relief materials get to the right people early, concerned individuals have taken a cue from the government's gesture and are reaching out to the vulnerable to cushion their hardship, thereby complementing government efforts. This event, holding in Kala Hong local government area of Adamawa State, is the flag-off of the distribution of palliatives to about 30,000 households across the 21 local government areas of the state. The coordinator enumerates the items being distributed.
The items are of different categories. As you can see, this is a non-food and non-food item intervention. We cut across some building materials, some food items, grains, rice, and some household items. So they are not of the same category as you can see. They are quite assorted, but the entirety of this exercise is aimed at reaching out about 30,000 beneficiaries.
This gesture is appreciated by the traditional leader of Hong, who commends the efforts of the state government towards improving the citizens' welfare.
People are suffering. So the meager that the government can give can help tremendously. The situation is pathetic. It's pathetic. It's beyond one's imagination. One cannot imagine. People are suffering seriously. This is all I know.
Most people in the state are hopeful that with the present commitment by the state government and well-meaning Nigerians towards effective distribution and disbursement of palliatives, that their hardship may soon be brought to an end.
Meanwhile, the opposition People's Democratic Party in Benue State says it will not be intimidated into commenting how the 5 billion subsidy palliative to the state is implemented. Spokesperson of the PDP the disbursement of 5 million naira is above the approval limit of the governor without forming his cabinet. However, Governor Hyacinth Alia, through his chief press secretary, wonders why the opposition wants to subject palliative intervention to budgetary restraints.
This same governor has, accepted that he received 2 billion naira out of the 5 billion naira palliatives package that has been sent to the state by the federal government, and he went ahead and listed out the purposes to which he will apply these funds to. This is against the backdrop that those are funds which, according to financial regulations laws in this country, are not captured in the subsisting budgetary year or cycle. Yet, without the appropriating powers of the state legislature, this governor has, dispensed with these funds. And the law clearly states that the approval given for spending for a state governor is just limited to 50 million naira alone. Any other expenditure is above that limit must go through the due process procedure of going through the EXCO and obtaining the approval of the state legislature. This governor has no need for such processes. This governor has the time to go to the police on an issue that ordinarily should be considered as civil in nature, because you are looking at an issue of a citizen having written in the open space to question the application of public funds, and this governor has instigated the police through a petition to arrest and prosecute this young man, citing all manner of laws, and then we find this very, very surprising.
It is called freedom of speech and not freedom of lies. It's not freedom of fabrications. It's not freedom of maligning people. It's not freedom to libel people. No. When you get to that level, you have crossed the red line. and then you are prone to be charged. And so this particular issue you are talking about, and this is an issue somebody has been picked for publicly saying that the governor used 2 billion naira, 2 billion palliative that were sent to the state to complete his house in Guzape in Abuja. This outright declaration. He did not seek clarification. He did not ask questions. He straight away said that the money has arrived at the state, but instead of using it for what it is meant, they're going to use that money to complete his own house in Guzape. The screenshot is there. You can go to this same guy's wall and you still see what I'm telling you. And so instead of sending talks after him, the way it was done in the past, we are civil enough to ask the security agencies to probe into this and let the Benue people know the truth about what is happening. Is it true that this guy has evidence that the governor has used this money to go and build a house anywhere? Is it true that the money came here and was withdrawn by the governor for his personal gains? These are the issues. And so this is very, very different from saying somebody is trying to muzzle the opposition.
Well, I had earlier teased Professor Ibrahim Abubakar to join us talking about technology and innovation and how that can improve the nation's architecture. And he joins me here in the studio. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Professor,
thank you, the audience.
All right. Whenever national security is mentioned, what comes to mind? Rule of law, effective maintenance of law and order by our security agencies. Some believe that we need to consider other things like economic security, cyber security, women, children, empowerment, and so many other things. What's your take on this?
Oh, well, just as I normally say, we started security from a very faulty foundation. We have not been able to build a security template. So we have to go back again to build a security template. If we build a security template, then we'll be able to build an architecture, make a security architecture, and the rest. Also, we have not started. Because what they left for us is what we call protective security.
Who are the they? What have we been doing since?
Since we just been doing what we are already been trained to do. So we do training and retraining, not minding whether we have to build a security template. So we have to come back and build a security template first.
But I'm sure the security template of 10 years ago is definitely different from what we should have now and projecting into the future as a number of things have evolved.
If you look at it in some of the cybersecurity setups or what we have, the type of training we have here, you'll find out that it is mostly theoretical than practical. So you're just giving somebody an insight of what he's going to meet. Practically, he don't even know how to contain it. So if we want to go broadly into security, we start with citizen and human rights security. Then under citizen and human rights security, let's say it's a subsector. It's educational security, food security, housing security, transportation security. So all these are other citizen and human rights security because education is your right. Food security, feeding is your right. So housing, you must have an accommodation. All these are your rights. So before we start talking, bringing in the security formations, we have to look at these objectives. Then we come, if we leave citizen and human rights security, we come to business and economic security. I've gone to the National Assembly about 3 years ago, and I've told them that security can generate 50 trillion naira in 2 years, and in 5 years we can generate over 150 trillion. So why will a policeman, for example, or any security agent practitioner receive member or service officer receive less than 1 million or 5 million naira? Because you can salary. So you because they are not generating. But when the security sectors start generating, and you are paying a constable 1 million, 2 million. Just as the Inspector General of Police children can go to Oxford University, the constable child can also go to Oxford University and attend the same thing.
So perhaps in 30 seconds, if there were one solution that you have for the new ministers in charge of these particular sectors, what advice would you be given to President Tinubu's cabinet? Because you have mentioned it's all, encompassing.
If we want to address the issues, we have to start from the formations. Like the police, for example. Let me look at the police. Which they brought in what we call community policing. But are we supposed to start with community policing? No, we have not done grassroots policing. We have not done neighborhood policing.
What's
you went to community policing.
Semantics, community, police, grassroots. Still talking about the community.
I'm just very sure that you are talking about the community, yes. But how many of your neighbors do the police know? Can I call the DPO in charge of your area now and mention your name and they will tell me this is your house? How many of our people are profiled? So you have a lot of art of criminals or criminalities around your surrounding because nobody is profiled. You can only start profiling when we start practicing neighborhood policing. So I will be able to profile. I know that, this man has 2 children. This is what the children are doing. This is how his family looks like.
Professor, you'll have to come again. We want to appreciate your time. It's always short time on lunchtime. Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, security analyst, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Well, we continue with Kogi State, where the governor has assured the people of the state that the November 11th governorship election will be conducted under a peaceful atmosphere. He urged members of the APC to embark on door-to-door campaign to mobilize votes for the candidate of the party, Usman Ododo. He also commended the decampees from the PDP, led by former Senator Atai Aidoko, into the ruling All Progressives Congress. And to more political stories, the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, has said that governors are now more prepared to perform as they are better equipped with leadership strategies to deliver effective governance nationwide. He also doubles as the vice chairman of the NGF. He described the leadership retreat organized by the Nigeria Governors Forum in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme in Kigali as a means of deepening governance across the subnational level. And the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, says he would work towards reducing the emergency response time of the Federal Fire Service centres to below 15 minutes. He made the announcement in a video broadcast of his vision for reforming key sectors under the Interior Ministry. And that's our show this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Bye for now.